Welcome to part 2 of our introduction to FTL, Faster Than Light Advanced Edition. We'll finish up Sector 1 with this video, go over a few more game mechanics, and show you some more gameplay video. Thanks for watching! Alright, so can't buy anything, I just came here to show you guys what's going on there. We'll go ahead and move along. As you can see, danger Will Robinson, danger! The red flow is following me. If I jump into any of these sectors that are in the red right now, the lighter red, they'll be red by the time I get there, and you're going to run into a very tough fight. Unless you have some really advanced weaponry and shielding, you're just going to die. And of course the darker red back here, well, it's even more deadly. I don't know how it could be more deadly, but it is. So we'll go ahead and run away towards our quest marker. One of the great things about the game is that you always have to balance how many jumps you have available and how close they are getting. So can you make it to that store? Can you make it to that distress signal and back to the exit before it gets covered in the red death? Very important part of the game. So here we go. Let's have some combat. This will be our first one. Great thing about the game, like I said, it's almost turn-based. You can pause this anytime you want. You can set up as many commands as you want. So you can send your shield guy over here, give a target for your missiles and lasers separately, which we'll go ahead and do now, because they'll fire as soon as they charge. This guy's just loaded up with 2 separate laser weapons, so we'll go ahead and target his weapon systems with the Artemis, and blow down his shields a little bit with the laser. And we'll see how we do here. There's one thing I wish the game could include would be a speed adjustment, where you could actually speed up time, but you're really not missing out on anything without it. It just takes a little bit of time for like your weapons to go up, and as your weapons officer gets better, of course that time will decrease. Alright, so, look at this. They are surrendering, and in return, what did I tell you about the scrap recovery arm? They are giving me one if I let them live. Now, we could, of course, not accept surrender and just blow them to kingdom come. We would probably get a little bit more scrap, maybe a few more missiles and drone parts, maybe some fuel. But I've noticed that if you blow them up, the augment generally doesn't come with it. So we'll accept their surrender and get ourselves a free scrap recovery arm. Very nice, very nice. Alright, and we didn't take any damage, because apparently they suck at shooting. So, we'll go ahead and continue in another distress call. Let's jump and see what we can see. Oh, alright. 7 fuel, or 7 scrap for the assistants, and we'll probably get more if and when we can get them to their end. Oh, this is going to be tough. Look at that. So here comes the decision right away. Can I get to both quest markers before things go to hell? Well, let's hope so, because I'm going to have to jump here, then back up to here, then to here, then to here, then to here, then back here, and then to the exit. That's a lot of jumps for both of these. I think one of these guys is screwed. So, do I want to help the illegal base and potentially have a store at the same site? Or do I want to go help these guys? I'm going to say let's go help the base first and see if they have a store available, and we'll kind of decide from there. These backgrounds are awesome, aren't they? If you're downloading this for PC, I highly suggest you pick up that background spot. It's free, and these backgrounds look really great. Alright. Now this guy, if you notice, he has a missile system that looks similar to mine. It may be a different one. His might be a breach or something like that. So we're definitely going to want to power down his weapons as soon as possible. So I'm going to focus all weapons on his weapon system right now, and see if I can't mitigate the damage that we're going to receive. Because, yeah, he just blew a hole in my engine compartment. Alright, but I took out his weapon, so he can't do anything else while I can continue to pound him. Of course, here's his shields, and this is the recharge to him, so it's important to keep an eye on this, just so you know how many shields they've got. But honestly, the shields recharge so fast that this thing here is almost useless to know about. But there it is. Alright, so since the engines are down, can't do anything. He can't dodge or anything like that. If you notice, my evade's 0. My FTL drive is no longer charging, so we'll go ahead and send him off to do some repairs, and we'll go ahead and save our missiles and just continue targeting his weapons. He doesn't have any other offensive capabilities. So long as I can keep his weapons offline, we'll either get a surrender or just trash him. Oops, without having to spend any more missiles, because those are finite. Now if you notice, that was a hull breach in the engine compartment. So sending my human in there, somewhat dangerous, but just a little red bar has disappeared before he died, which is a good thing. Otherwise, I would have lost my pilot, and that's not good. So things are looking pretty good here. Repairs are going well. And we're keeping his weapons offline. And this one here should kill him. He's not going to surrender, so whatever. We'll go get healed really quick. And that does the trick. 10 scrap and 3 fuel. Not bad. Not great, but not bad. Alright, FTL is still going to be charging, or not charging it. My captain needs to get back in his captain chair before we can jump. Alright, just a little bit of damage from that missile, otherwise we're looking pretty good here. Alright. Let's go take it on. Now, I was talking about the drones. Here's one of them. And here's the drone section of the enemy ship. That's their command module for the drones. If you damage it, their drones can go offline until it gets repaired. This one here is an offensive drone, and mousing over it, of course, gives you a great tooltip, tells you exactly what that particular drone does, so you never have to guess. This one just keeps shooting little lasers at my ship, which is going to mess up my shields and give his lasers and his beam weapon the chance to do some serious damage to me. So first things first, pretty much every encounter I start with goes with hitting their weapons if I've got a missile system to do so. He's probably going to get at least one hit in here. There we go. I took out his weapons before he was able to do real damage with that beam weapon. Actually, before he did any with it, which was good. We'll keep the pressure on that weapon system so he can't do anything. As if you notice here, the shields are recharging as fast as you can attack. And if you see here, I'm getting level up or experience for those guys every single time it happens. So you might run into a situation where you actually want to be attacked by something. Well, let's say if I had... Oh, see, look at that. I got 3 repair and some scrap out of that because I saved those guys. And the store, just like I was hoping for. Alright. So, the combat can get very in-depth. There's things like the hacking subsystem, which shoots out a little computer that attaches to part of their ship and can disable whatever system it attaches to. So engines, weapons, their med bay, things like that. There's an addition that was made as well to the advanced edition, I believe, the mind control, and literally you take control of one of the enemy's crew members, and they attack their fellow crew members, attack systems on the ship, and it can be a very big game changer, because if you do it to their pilot, then they no longer have evade capability. Every one of your shots is going to hit, things like that. Alright, so we got ourselves a pretty good setup here. 57 scrap, not great, but that's going to go up rapidly with that recovery arm. And halberd beam, this one's pretty nice. If you notice at the bottom, it gives you a tip here. Damage was reduced by 1 for every shield, so even with 2 damage per room hit, even if they have 1 layer of shields, I can still hit them with this beam, and it's still going to damage the hull of the ship by 1 point for each room done. And when you target the weapon, you get a little line-to-line shot that tells you where your beam's going to go. You can actually be very meticulous about where your shot begins and where it ends, so you can hit the most number of rooms possible and maximize your damage. Stun bomb, teleport, and does ion damage, which no hull damage, but it disables subsystems rather effectively. Ion blast, it does the same thing as this, it's just a shot. Now, against ships that have shields, you're going to hit the shield with this, and you're going to disable their shields right off the bat. So this is actually a very powerful weapon, especially with such a low power requirement, only 1. It's going to do that ion damage and temporarily disable something. And here's the hacking I was telling about. A clone bay, you can resurrect dead crew members, and a backup battery. I never saw much use to this one, but you might. And of course, page 2, what do we got? Recharge booster, makes it faster. Fire suppression, handy. And a life form scanner. This is handy in the different nebulas that you'll go through that disable your scanners completely. You won't be able to see the inside of your ship or the enemies. In this case, we're going to go ahead and pick ourselves up an ion cannon, because these cannot be underestimated, especially for such a low power consumption weapon. I don't have the power or the scrap to actually install it, but I can of course disable my missiles and use it instead. In the opening areas, of course, that's going to be pretty darn handy, so I don't have to use missiles, and I can just use this to disable their shields, followed up with the burst laser, which will no longer have to deal with the shield and just damage their rooms directly. Alright, so let's go ahead and continue our quest. And unfortunately, I am 100% sure I cannot do that upper quest. There's just not enough time. And here's our first nebula. Alright. So he's trying to jump away. There's his FTLs charging right there. He's got one of the hacking systems. You saw that subsystem icon in the store. Well, there it is installed. So let's deal with this guy. Now, considering the fact that we want this guy to be down as quickly as possible, we're going to start charging our missiles. We're actually going to use one of these on his engines. And we'll see if we can't power down his weapons with a blast from our bird. Oh, he hit my weapons right away. And come on. Boy, he really messed me up here, didn't he? Let's hope I can disable him. Okay, good. So that's a good start. We'll go ahead and... if I can recharge my weapons, there we go. I'm tired of that, so we'll hit that with a missile and follow it up with his weapons. There we go. So we can't use it again. We don't need the Artemis right now. Ooh, fire in the oxygen. That's not good. Let's go patch up that hole. And we'll disable our Artemis and switch over to Ion and Burst Laser. Fire as well, so we'll get both of these guys in here. Because this is kind of an important room, as you can imagine. Okay. Very good, very good. Pretty close on this one. These guys were in a lot of trouble since this particular room was about to run out of oxygen, as well as... oh, crap. Ooh, not good, not good. Get out of there. Get out of there. You go get healed. You too. We'll just go ahead and decompress that room and get rid of the fire. Thankfully, the little icon here, even though I can't see it, tells me that there's still fire in the room. This will just make sure that it is out. And we can send these guys to repair. As the oxygen's working again, it'll refill with oxygen pretty quick. Alright guys, I'll send my captain as well. A whole breach in that room, great. That one was a dangerous little outing, wasn't it? Okay, good. Oxygen in this room, so we can repair it in peace. Now, each time one of your guys does a repair, they get a little level up in repair skill. Alright, so we will send these guys to the med bay, get them back to health. Kirby is my pilot. And Schultz was my weapons officer, so we'll go back. We can just click on that, then we'll go back. Alright, that one was a nasty encounter. Just like I told you, they wiped out almost half of my hull in one go, and this is only Sector 1. Let's head to the distress beacon, see what we can see. Another combat. Now, this guy, I don't know what that weapon is. Something from the Enhanced Edition. Awesome. Now you're going to have to keep an eye on your weapon charge status because they do charge at different rates. And while it would be nice for me to shoot an ion blast, it's not going to do anything because the shields will probably be back by the time I get my burst laser online. So there we go. Very nice. And they take out my oxygen again. I really don't like you guys. And these guys, we will not accept surrender. They aren't giving me a really great incentive to care. And another round of this. Yeah, you guys mess with the wrong people. Return everybody to their positions because that has been repaired. Continue the barrage, gentlemen. Excellent. Alright, double the scrap. So, not much, but there's some there. Alright, let's continue on our merry way. Now, we do have another jump available before bad guys get here, so we're going to go ahead and just do a little extra exploration. See if we can't come across something worthy. Oh, hey, look at this. And a bonus activity because I have a scrap recover arm. This will occur for certain crew members as well. Remember back at my, I believe it was my first or second jump, there was the infected people. If I had a rock crew member, since they're immune to disease, I could have sent him there without risk and gotten pretty much a free recovery. Like this one, exploring the asteroid field can kill a crew member and damage your ship. However, the scrap recovery arm, pretty much free, which is why you definitely want to take it on as soon as you find one. Alright, I really can't get anywhere else safely. We'll go ahead and get to the exit. Free schematic samples. Very nice of these guys. Alright, so even if I don't plan on using this, which I probably really wouldn't, you can always sell it for scrap, which is great. Alright, and so we're done with this sector. Let's go ahead and could do some upgrades, but we'll leave that for perhaps the next video if I decide to continue this with Sector 2. Maybe. We'll see how things go. We might switch over to a different game. But as it stands, for my introduction to FTL, of course my overall review of the game is going to be excellent. I do enjoy it, as frustrating as it can be. It's a great investment for the small amount of money which it costs. Many times going on sale, and of course now available on iPad for $10. Of course your touch input is going to be quite a bit different than this, or slightly different than what we've got here for the layout and how the gameplay goes. But from what I've seen and looked at, it actually plays very smoothly and is done quite well. Hopefully they'll release an Android version sooner rather than later so that I can play it on my tablet while I'm at work. Alright, well, thank you so much for watching, and if you have any comments or want to have any questions answered, go ahead and leave a comment below. Look forward to my future videos and subscribe. Have yourselves a great rest of your day.